Hello, we have finished day 2 of reviews on London Fashion Week men's. We've just come out of a Martine Rose show and it's very, very exciting because Martine has the privilege and the power to show whenever she fancies. There's sometimes a presentation, there's sometimes a show, there's sometimes just a lookbook, and so whenever there's a show on the schedule, the press pack are wild with excitement. So we were particularly excited for this one. Martine always has really interesting locations as well. Previous collections have been in Seven Sisters and kind of Finsbury Park areas. We've been in climbing wall sports centres and places in Tottenham with market stalls. So we're all really excited. But this was Beaufort House in kind of city East London, which is where a lot of the business of the UK happens. So it's kind of Amazon types, Google, that kind of thing, and we walk into a very corporate building. We're all given these wonderful little tags that say Martine Rose and Beaufort Visitors Pass, and this is a bit of an indicator to the narrative and the theme running throughout Martine's collection. So we're on the rooftop of the third floor actually of this beautiful building, and we can see the Gherkin. It's a London skyscrapers, but it's very much a city skyline, and what I mean by that is bankers. I can't think of anyone else who works in the city. Bankers, clearly not my demographic. But and she was commenting on the kind of British subcultures of the 80s and how the political time we're in now plays a mirror to what we were going through in the 80s. I mean, when you think of 80s politics in Britain, you think of Thatcher, you think of riots, you think of skinheads, you think of partying till the dawn to forget about your troubles, and that's very much what was at play here. So there was skinheads as a reference, there was proto-ravers, football hooligans, and what else did she put? New romantics. And it's that escapism that she was really trying to capture, and about how do you let out your political frustration. If you're a football hooligan, you might beat someone up. If you're a raver, you might party till 6 a.m. and then, vomit on the steps or somewhere. And so this was really calling, kind of putting a mirror to the political times we're in now. Obviously, we are in a little bit of a state of distress, Brexit, international state of distress. Martine was saying backstage that everything is topsy-turvy, and that was really reflected in the clothes. So jackets were scooping in and zipping into other jackets, and collars were kind of popped. There's all these different twists and turns. So shoes had an odd little circular hole as if the big toe could poke up and say hello. All these wonderful little kind of tropes that nod to unorthodox, topsy-turvy political climes that we're in. Some really wonderful things to note were jeans and shirts that had been kind of set in a wonderful resin. It was a resin treatment that preserved the crinkles, so they hadn't been ironed, and there's that really wonderful idea of someone raving all weekend and then being a little bit on the wrong side of the night to iron his shirt for the Monday morning, and so he's just chucked something on and trying to get into the city and look presentable because he's making all these huge decisions. And I really loved the narrative. There's amazing hair reference to Kinky Gerlinky Club, which kind of looked, in the best way, plonked on. So big fringes, big bouffants, kind of donuts of hair, odd little swirls slicked to the head. And I really liked how plonked on it was, because again it was this kind of awful disguise, like a nose, tash and glasses, as in like trying to get away with being someone you're not, or trying to put on a front. And I love that through the clubber vein who's trying to hide maybe the night they've had, and I love that through the politician vein as in like, oh yes, you can trust me, look at my hairpiece and look how fun I am, and trying to appeal to younger markets. So you can really unpick this collection. But some of the standouts for me, yes, was those resin crinkles, those really, really brilliant jackets that like looped in and zipped. There's some kind of oriental style print satin trousers and shirt with a kind of typical Cheongsam buttoning on the collar, and I love this slight chintzy 80s-ness that worked with weird rockabilly but with suits. It was chaotic, as often Martine shows can be, but there's lots to digest, and I think there's some really, really strong pieces. So yes, thoroughly thrilled. And I just thought it was a really strong comeback. And I always say comeback because when Martine disappears, we always feel like when she comes back, she's got to come back with a bang. Please don't go again. So what did you think, Cal?
I thought it was a really interesting collection. I think the narrative and what it's speaking to, is perfect for us to analyse and talk about, create editorials around and speak to her countless you know what I mean? It's real fodder, and you're learning and understanding something through Martine's perspective, which I think is so exciting. I think these clothes harked back to some of her earlier works, especially there were cowboy suits with fringing that I really felt were harking back to the wigs actually, when she was doing the short shorts and the lace bombers that you could turn inside out. And it was, those collections aired on a similar line of being able to turn it around and be so outlandish and really stand out from a crowd, or just go reversible and just have a simple black bomber jacket. And I think that subversion and that if you know, you know, really works in Martine's work. I mean, the subtleness, I missed a bit of the subtleness, but that could have simply been in the styling.
Yeah.
Like, it was styled to the extreme on purpose, and I understand why. And I think once these clothes get to store, all of my woes and worries will probably be totally forgotten. The suiting was really standout here, and I've always had a thing for Martine suits. I always think they're very clever, but these really took centre stage, as obviously we're in a big business and we're in a big business centre and all of that, oversized, as if you've accidentally picked up your boyfriend's coat after a long night out instead of your own, and you don't have time to go get changed, you'll just tuck it in and do something weird.
Trying to fill shoes that you might not be prepared for yet if you're a politician.
And there's all these lovely references that are so childlike but also so adult, it's these lovely dualities, but I'd be interested to see in 6 months how this sits on the rail, but I understand why the styling was, and if you look at the photos it might look so maximalist and so odd. I quite like the maximalism, I must say, because it gives the eyes so much to I feel like the eyes were jittering over for sure,
over everything, and I think you're totally right. Once you start unpicking the pieces, they'll really come alive. The one, if I'm gonna pick anything negative, I think it was the t-shirts, and Martine always does a brilliant t-shirt that kind of connects the entire theme, and she'd done clowns with what did it say?
The European star.
Yeah, some of the European stars, and it said promising something on it. I can't remember what it said.
Yeah, promising England.
Promising future or something like that. It was a play on words. It was brilliant, but very political. But for me, the clown, that to me is a little too explicit. I love it, and it will definitely sell really well. I have no doubt. There's loads of politically engaged youths who love Martine, who would absolutely love that entry level price point item. Sure. But for me, that was the weakness rather than the maximalism. And also, to be fair, actually, to counteract my own point, Martine has a core collection that I do mention in every review because I started as a buyer, so it's really important to me. But she has a core collection where you will get the t-shirts, the jeans, the this, the that you know and love for Martine. So this is a real time for her to explore a narrative, a concept, and for her to show, because she doesn't do it all the time, so she's only going to do it when she can. And I think it's exciting to see Martine go back to some of that more conceptual and quite jarring looks that I became aware of her when she was doing, because she's been going through or almost playing the sportswear fan and the fuckboy a little bit at their own game and say, oh, you think this is really cool, but actually I've flip reverse it. If you're a true fan, you'd wear this.
Yeah, exactly, but it is really fuckboy, but actually the fuckboys who wear it aren't anyway, it gets very complicated.
Meta.
Very meta. But it's nice for her to slightly move away from that, I think, and I think it seems like a natural progression to go back.
I totally get what you mean, and I loved that it was except for Finn Buchanan, it was entirely street cast, which I loved, and also added to the slightly bonkers maximalist element, because everyone's kind of some street cast models kind of look around a little awkwardly or clomp a little bit on their feet,
and it's something new again. It's a new face you haven't seen.
So overall, brilliant. We love it. Martine, please don't do a show. We love it. It's so electric. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Please do subscribe to get regular updates on our many live reviews still to come, and please do visit Show Studio so you can see all the wonderful Martine clothes we've just been talking about. See you soon.
Bye.